All right, now this might surprise you, but this is one of the coolest motorcycles ever built. No one's really riding them. No one's really talking about them. They're durable, fun, and extremely reliable, and they've been making this bike for 25 years. Well, actually 26 years. This is the DRZ 400 Super Moto, and I'm gonna tell you guys all about it right now. Now this is my 2018 DRZ SM. SM stands for Super Moto. Now if you don't know what Super Moto is, this is Super Moto. It's a combination of street riding, you know what I mean? So it's got 17-inch street tires, not that unsimilar to what you'd see on a super sport bike, but then it's got the suspension and everything else is a dirt bike. So in terms of handling, it's gonna be one of the best handling bikes on the street. In terms of jumping wise, it's got the suspension for it. And in terms of top speed, it doesn't really have a good top speed, but that's cool because it's fun at lower speeds. It's incredibly fun at lower speeds. But when you talk about just twisties and, you know, really back roads riding, it's really hard to beat a Super Moto. This bike first came out in the year 2000, right after the 1900s, where Suzuki came out with a off-road only DRZ 400. And it was amazing because it was electric start. And I know that sounds crazy because now everything's electric start, but back then it was like, oh man, this is cool. Electric start is the way to go. And it was pretty great. Because you drop a big bike like this, you lay it over, fuel in the carb gets all lost, then you gotta kick it 20 times after an exhausted day. Electric start makes a big difference. What that original bike replaced was the Suzuki DR350, which was air-cooled, and then went to water-cooled, electric start, bigger engine. It was pretty modern day, huge upgrade bike. Then 5 years later, in 2005, they launched this version. Now I know what you're thinking, you're like, oh, this is 2018, it must be some slightly different variation of this version. I'm not, it's the exact same thing. They launched this exact motorcycle in 2005, the Super Moto version, with the wheels and the different suspension and stuff, and they didn't change it. They kept that same thing for 20 years. Now they did change the color occasionally, but that's about it. And then in 2026, they actually finally made a new model that's fuel injected in the exact same horsepower. And I've not ridden one yet, so I'm not gonna talk about that one until I ride one. But what they put together was, you know, one of the first factory produced, and for Suzuki, the only factory produced Super Moto. And then they just kept on making it. And every chance I get a chance to get my hands on one of these, I love it, and I think I need one in my own personal collection. They're beautiful, they're simple, easy to work on, super reliable. You hear about people doing over 100,000 miles on these engines, and if you wanted to rebuild it, it's dirt cheap. Everything about this bike is pretty cheap to maintain. I remember the first time I really started considering these bikes was you know, years ago when I was doing a track day on my 600 GSXR, and it was I think Carolina Motorsports Park, a pretty small track, a lot of corners, not a lot of straights, and a guy on a DRZ 400 looked just like this one was keeping up with me the whole time. I would pull on him on the straights, and he would beat me in the corners. And I thought, man, that's the cheapest, fastest way to race a bike and to have a lot of fun. Also, when you're running these smaller tires, they're way cheaper to replace. And a slight bike like this bike only weighs, I think, 354 pounds. That's a pretty light bike. Let me clarify. If that's a light bike for a street bike, it's still kind of heavy. You know, it was 25 years ago. It's still kind of heavy for a dirt bike. But for a street bike, that's a pretty light bike. Now, just to clarify, they made the DRZ 400E, that came out first, which was all dirt. It was not street legal, and actually had a little more power than this bike did. Then they made the DRZ 400S, which was the dual sport version, and then they made the DRZ 400 SM, which is the one I like the most because I think it's the most fun. Now you're thinking like, man, you made that same bike for 25 years, that's crazy. We have seen this before where a motorcycle company continues selling the same bike for 2 decades or more. It's actually surprisingly not that uncommon because for one reason they kept on selling. And the more important part is that people who kept on buying them, kept on abusing them. So it made sense to be like, I'll just go buy a new one instead of buying someone else's old bike. And the thing about it was they were cheap. The original MSRP on the Super Moto bike in 2005 was just over $6,000. And then 20 years later, they had only bumped it to $78.99. That's still less than $8,000 for a bike like this brand new with a warranty, I mean, that's really, really hard to beat. Especially considering that we know that it's got a track record for being incredibly durable. And all the aftermarket parts they have available for this bike, why wouldn't you buy one? Now, another really cool thing about this bike, and only on the Super Moto version, was that they ran really nice wheels on it. These are gold iodized rims. That ain't cheap. I mean, we're talking, they're selling the bike for just over 7,000 bucks. They got $1,000 rims on it. That's pretty good value. Here's another reason why I like this bike. It's great for two people, not two people riding on it. It's awful for two people riding on it. Definitely don't buy it for that. It's good for two people. One, guys like me, who've been riding for a long time. I've got a lot of bikes at my disposal. I like going fast. I like having fun. I'm moderately skilled in riding, and I love jumping on this machine. Like, I have a blast riding it. There's nothing boring about this bike. And then the other person that this bike is perfect for, this might surprise you, but fairly new riders. Now, I probably wouldn't teach a guy how to ride on this bike. It's a little twitchy, a little snappy. But once they know how to ride, then the mechanics, throw a beginner rider on this because they can have a blast. It looks super cool. It's tons of fun. But also, here's the big thing. They're not going to be getting into any high-speed trouble. It's only 5-speed. It's not geared very tall. And all the fun is down low. So this bike is kind of like the Miata of motorcycles, where you can have a race car driver jump into it and have a blast, or you can have a brand new driver jump on it and have a great time. And that's why I like it. Yeah, this is the Miata of motorcycles. It's been around forever. People can call it slow, and they'd be right. But people could also call it fast, and they'd be right, depending on who's riding it. Now, this bike is powered by a water-cooled 398 single-cylinder gasoline engine. And obviously, it's 4-stroke. So people are always asking me the same two questions. They're like, Sean, what's your favorite bike? And where'd you get those awesome pair of jeans from?
Where'd you get those jeans?
And honestly, I don't blame them. I got them from our sponsor of today's video, Fabletics. They combine a durable stretch fabric with the soft live-in feel, which means I can do anything in these jeans. I can organize my tools, I can clean the toilet, chop wood, push a motorcycle, change a tire, climb into my side-by-side, and I can carry water like a boss. Same jeans can do it all. And that's the thing that Fabletics figured out. There's actual real stretch. They also sent me this really nice polo. It fits great, it's buttery soft. Here's the deal. If you sign up as a new VIP, you get 70 to 80% off the whole site on your first order. Then after that, VIP gets you 50% off daily, plus a monthly credit for a 2-piece outfit or any product up to 100 bucks. And it's flexible. You can skip any month you want, no charge. You also get early access to drops, VIP sales, and their Fit app for free. The link is in the description, or click on the QR code right here. Go sign up, grab the discount, and get yourself some pants that people will actually ask you about. If you want to compare specs, you could compare specs, and you could say, compare it to any KTM and be like, well, that KTM is a better deal. It's way more horsepower. It's way lighter. Everything's better. It's got better suspension, cone valve, all that stuff. But you could replace the oil with water and still put 1,000 miles on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's that durable. You're not gonna have to do anything. Maintain the battery. It's hard to beat just a rugged, durable thumper where if you handle it right, man, you could have a great time. And I like to be riding instead of working on my bikes, unlike us KTM guys. Now, before we take this thing for a spin, and that's how you really feel the bike, there's 3 interesting facts about this bike that I recently learned. I want to tell you guys. 1, this bike is so durable that the Australian Army uses this for their military. That's pretty impressive. 2, it's the only Super Moto Suzuki ever made. And they did a good job the first time, so why not just continue making it for the rest of eternity? And then 3, some of you guys, some of you older motorcycle riders might know this, but in 2004, 2005, Kawasaki rebranded this bike. Kawasaki sold a Suzuki under the badge of the KLX 400. Compare them side by side, it's the exact, they're green, and this was yellow, the exact motorcycle. Kind of an interesting collaboration. All right, guys, before we jump on this bike, we got a Bob verse to do. James 1:9, you know this, my beloved brothers and sisters. Now everyone must be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. That's a good one. Slow to speak, slow to anger, quick to listen. Alright, zip up my new gloves. There we go. Turn the key. Now, this bike, even though it's a hot day, I still needed to warm it up a little bit. I had to run it for like 5 seconds with the choke all out. But now we're good to go. Lost my camera bike. So I've always felt very, very comfortable. This bike just fits me perfectly. All right, we're gonna take a left. Cable clutch. It's not a very heavy cable clutch, and it's just everything about it's just simple. And all the gears, it pulls really well. It's just not comfortable riding on the highway for long periods of time. But if you got to jump from exit to exit, it's great. But where this bike shines, it's just hitting twisties, man. I love it. It's also really fun for wheelies. But if there's ever a situation where you have to just go a long ways in the same gear, the same RPMs, that's where this bike could be both amazing when you're just hitting corner after corner, really tight tracks, or awful of just it's a very drony bike. But man, that's not what it's for. You know, anytime you use the vehicle in the way it's not intended to, it's not going to be good. And it's funny, people get mad at that. Oh, the DRZ 400 is too slow. I think when people say stuff like that, what they're trying to do is they're trying to say that they're better than it. Like I've surpassed any need for any DRZ 400. I need the Ducati Hyper Motard. I need 140 horsepower Super Moto. That's how good of a motorcycle rider I am. That's what I think people are saying. But you know, a real talent, a talented rider can be fast on anything. But someone who just really loves motorcycles, man, you can have fun on anything too. All right, let's beat the light. Now here's what gives the DRZ kind of the worst reputation. And I think they have a good reputation, but some people kind of dog on it for being slow and lame and stuff like that. And all that is based off of what I think is one thing. And that one thing is that the color scheme that they come out with when they're stock. It's white and orange and ugly. White and yellow, not orange. It's white, yellow. They're goofy looking. They look really white bread, just kind of boring. But they do got the gold wheels. But then if you get a cool, oh shoot! All right. Did that guy forget that he had his things down? If you get a cool sticker package like this one, it looks awesome. Now, if I was gonna hang on this bike for too long, I'd probably put a different sticker package on it. But unless you're like 16 or 18, what this bike is not, it's not a commuter. It's not a like, I'm gonna sell my car. I'm gonna, this is funny. I'm gonna sell my car and ride a motorcycle. It's not that bike. It's a bike that like, you sit in your garage, and when you're like, I'm gonna go tear it up. I'm gonna have some fun. Like, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna go out of our way to go to like the Tail of the Dragon, or I'm gonna go do a track day or something. You're gonna really like really tear it up. That's what this bike is for. Because anything else, just commuting, you're like, it's not that great. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fun. It's still fun, but you know, it's a single cylinder 400. Yeah, you know, it's gonna vibrate a lot. Your butt's gonna go numb. Unless you're just racing and doing fun stuff, and then I love it. It's short commutes. Short commutes. I mean, it's got torque everywhere. Like, I'm in top gear. This is top gear right now. And it just rolls out of it. You know, when I was, my first dirt bike was an XR 400, and I loved it. It had this level of power, and it just all torque at the bottom end, and it was great. And then the reason I got rid of it is I got real tired of picking it up out of ditches, and then, you know, being all worn out because I just got done picking it up, and then you know, kicking it 10 times to get it running. Like, it was exhausting. So I bought a DRZ. I bought a 2004 DRZ E, and it had electric start, and it was awesome. And ever since then, I've really enjoyed these bikes. But the fact that it's got, you know, the reason people love these things off-road is because you can do anything in second gear. You know, you never drop down the first gear. It's always second or third gear. Just, you know, it's chugging, and then, oh, it's a big hill, you lose momentum. A lot of guys with, you know, different bikes, they got a downshift. This thing just keep on chugging. I loved it. It made me feel like I was a better rider than what I actually was. And now it's doing the same thing. In the corners. Now, I don't know of any Super Moto tracks in anywhere. I know they exist. I know they're in the UK. I've never seen one in America. I think it's the coolest thing. I think it'd be so much fun. Never seen a track. Don't know why it didn't pick up more around here, because it just road racing mixed with dirt bikes. Like, that sounds awesome. But it didn't. But if it did, I could see myself getting another one of these and doing jumps and sliding in the corners. Man, that looks fun. When guys who ride these things well, you know, they're braking so hard in a corner that they're doing a stoppie. They're not trying to do a stoppie. They're not stunting the bike. They're just braking so hard that the front end stays up. And then oftentimes they start going into the corner on one wheel with the back tire up. Very, very impressive riding. You can cut in a little bit. I'll back up. Oh my God, get out of the way, birds. All right, I'm gonna stop right here, see if we can do the 0 to 60. There we go. All right, we'll do a 0 to 60 run. 3, 2, 1, go. There. Not bad. So I've always said that every motorcycle enthusiast, their goal should be at least 8 motorcycles, different motorcycles. And one of those motorcycles needs to be a Super Moto. If you've not ridden one, you have to. They're tons of fun. They're a blast. These are already street legal. You don't got to go through all the hassle of trying to make of modifying your dirt bike, your CRF or whatever to make it street legal and then put street wheels on it. And you don't got to do any of that stuff. You just buy it, throw insurance on it, and then go have a good time. Watch out, Colton. It's real washed up right here.
Yeah, thanks.
This is where Colton comes in hot, slamming into the wall. Where you at? There you go. Thanks, crash. Here, I'm gonna pull a wheelie out of here. I think I got a good wheelie. I'm gonna pull up next to you and do a wheelie. That's how I roll. We'll do it again, we'll get a better one. Yeah. Alright guys, that wraps it up. I think this bike is awesome. Everyone needs to buy one. We should all buy them, and let's all start a DRZ 400 a group. We'll see you guys next time. Remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you're going. Also, you might like this video right up here, so check this one out next.